questions of who they're on the outside, like
Where at?
Oh, sure. They were gonna around when I went at lunch, they just started camping down the, whatever the decomposed granite or whatever they put on last.
So where is this turf?
The Valley View Villas.
So we just
Yeah.
decided to-
Yeah, I had a asymptomatic, but I don't feel anything. But you're still looking for something.
Shocking me, it was less expensive, so.
Well, I think if you were probably like Albuquerque, the opposite.
Yeah.
The next two times, third
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call for the record. Mayor Lindsay.
Here,
Mayor Pro Tem Craig.
Here.
Councilor Howe.
Here.
Councilor Weeks is not here. And Councilor Curry.
here.
We have a quorum. You may proceed.
At this time I'd ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
If we get a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Jackie Boyd has asked to address the council this evening. Please come to the podium.
Thank you. I have a couple of things, and one of them was generated by conversation on Facebook, God forbid. But I think we're, as individuals in Angel Fire, reaching a point with the power outages. 3 weeks, 3 outages. I've been here a long time and I've not seen anything like it. I think we have reached the point where we need to ask for your help. You're elected to represent the village. I don't know whether you carry more collective power than we do, but I think a lot of individuals are feeling that even calling Kit Carson, trying to talk to administration, nobody's getting any answers, and so I'm dumping that in your lap.
So I'm happy, we feel exactly the same way you do, and we have been in constant communication with Kit Carson, because even currently having some issues outside of just the residential areas. In other words, we have a well pump down due to Kit Carson. What we were finally told is that there are 3 main transmission lines coming into Angel Fire, I believe 2 on the west side, 1 on the east side, to do the other way around, that are the cause of these frequent outages, and they have been ordered and all the parts, and they plan to make that, replace those lines in October.
Okay.
Because, as you stated, 20-something years ago, I do remember more frequent power outages, and then they came and they did quite a bit of work, and that had come way down, but it's at unprecedented levels.
Yeah.
And so, our frustration with Kit Carson is the same as yours. It goes beyond that as well. Our nice new asphalt roads, when you see a hole dug in it.
San Mateo.
Well, is a perfect example, but I think you can find it on all of them almost at this point.
Yeah.
That has a power line in it. It's Kit Carson. It's not our water guys. It's not our sewer system. It's Kit Carson that's doing that. So, yeah, we're frustrated with the outage as well. We have been talking to them, so I'm grateful you brought that up this evening so that we can address everybody on that.
Thank you. The crews are great. I mean, the guys will stop because they have to come in back of my townhouse. They'll stop and ring the doorbell and say we're shutting power off. So I think the crews are the ones who are taking a lot of heat for it, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, and again, I think they found and they're addressing the issue. Unfortunately, it's going to be a couple of months before it's resolved.
Okay. Next my next thing. And I don't know whether the resort and the village, what your responsibilities are on Country Club Drive into San Mateo and Spyglass. There's a lot more foot traffic this year, which is really neat. Are there any plans to maybe put in any sidewalks or anything to get people out of the road? Because people drive like maniacs around that curve by Olympic Park. And lots of foot traffic. And I think the pickleball courts now kind of generate that with people walking down. So I just wanted to chunk that rock in your pond.
So yeah, so I appreciate that, and currently, no, there's not any plans for sidewalks.
Easy answer.
Yeah.
Okay, last point. We have 10 or 12 people at Airport Coffee every Saturday lately. And Jeff came one Saturday. Both Gene Quist and Glenn Tillery, who are on the committee, come to coffee. We have people from all over. The one thing that we all have in common is that we own property in Angel Fire. So there's a vested financial interest in the airport and supporting the village to take that. But come join us. You'll get some different perspectives, and considering that the last 3 meetings of the airport committee, there hasn't even been a quorum at any of them. People who are in this, and I use coffee group loosely, we've built hangars, we've lived on airports, we've run airports. You'll get a perspective that might give you a bigger population to choose from for committee members who would really care to be there and to help. So come join us on Saturday morning. It's an interesting group. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe, I was gonna say that the parking lot at the pickleball court hasn't opened yet, but
It'll help with the parking, well, actually, it's just attracting foot traffic as well.
Right.
But yeah, no, that'll certainly help, getting people out of Spyglass. Thanks again, Jackie. Moving on to announcements and proclamations by the council. Anybody have anything this evening? Okay, we'll move right into our director reports. First up this evening is our fire chief, Jason Vance.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council, Manager Weir, Clerk Strickland. I don't have a whole lot to report other than Fire Station 1 progress is moving along pretty well. We had a slight delay with the inspector this week, but we're okay to start pouring concrete again at 6:30 tomorrow morning. We're pouring the vertical piers, and then hopefully should be able to pour slab by the end of the month, so that's going well. We completed all of our annual hose testing, hydrant testing, and pump testing, and so we're good to go for another year. And for our upcoming ISO inspection, we're planning on scheduling this fall. And I'm pleased to announce that we now have formulated a complete FireWise committee. We have a lot of projects going on with that, recent announcements with getting started with planning all of the $10 million, the 2 separate $10 million grants with the Cimarron Watershed, and planning meetings related to those. I know they had an RFP meeting to assemble contractors specifically for our project, so we're happy to have that moving along. Any questions so far? I think nothing gets done in the village without great teamwork, and one of the best forms of flattery is public acknowledgement. So first of all, I'd like to introduce our newest member of our department, and he's back here, Mr. Avery Hopkins, if you don't mind standing up. So everybody, if you see Avery around town, tell him hello, thank you, sir, and welcome to our department. But really, my main purpose, I'm going to use up most of my time, is to give some public acknowledgement for Mr. Mitchell McNeil. Mitchell McNeil when we had come on up. Mr. McNeil, when we had a departure of one of our lieutenants, he filled that role to an expert level. He went above and beyond in many of the projects that we have going on. I laid some pretty large tasks upon him with some of our truck check forms. If you see any hydrant map that has red, yellow, and blue color-coded hydrants, it's large in part because of the work that Mitchell helped us out with. And really, he just never said no. He always accepted the challenges that I gave him head on. He was in a temporary lieutenant position until we could get that position permanently filled, which we have done so. But I just wanted to offer a certificate of appreciation for Mr. Mitchell McNeil for his service dedication to our department. I'll read that. While serving as interim lieutenant, your unwavering professionalism, reliability, and willingness to go above and beyond in the call of duty have been instrumental in our team's success. We deeply appreciate your continued service, sacrifice, and commitment to excellence, and thank you for serving our department.
Thank you.
And I'll just, embarrass him a little further. He's applied to several PA schools, one of those being UNM, and has received a couple of one interview for sure, scheduled one interview, so he might be a PA before too long. We might be asking him for prescriptions or maybe come back to the Valley of Service. So thank you for everything and good luck in your future endeavors.
Next up is our police chief, Jerry Hogarth.
I don't have anything quite that exciting or formal, but good evening, Mayor, Council, Madam Clerk, Manager. Just to report on the July monthly recap. Total calls for the month of July 2026 were 218. I'm happy to report that that's down 98 calls from the year prior in July, but significantly up from June of this year, as we would have expected July to have been. Our total incident reports or calls for service were 102. Total warrants were 6. Arrests were 8. Crash reports we had 6. And 28 citations were issued for the month of July, with 3 additional non-traffic citations. Court collections for June, as you know, they run a month behind, so our court collections were $1,292. We have 2 new officers that were hired and both start now in August. Ryan Gates, who will start on the 24th, is a certified officer, and Josue Garcia, who is present tonight and I will introduce, please come up. He will need to attend the Law Enforcement Academy within 1 year of his employment here in Angel Fire. This is Jose Garcia. He comes to us from previous work at Mora County Sheriff's Office, but he never was certified there prior to that. He worked in Las Vegas. So we're happy to have him aboard. A little darker hair joining the force, might not be such a bad thing. So welcome, and this is our Mayor and Council.
Welcome aboard.
Notice the attire he's in. As soon as we're done with the meeting this evening, he and I and Officer Sanchez will be headed out to the range. We'll be there till either range us out or we get in through qualifications. So pretty excited to actually get some range time. And with that, I just mentioned that July events were kind of taxing on the staff. We had 4 officers instead of 6, but fortunately not too many problems this year. Got a good crew and a great village that we're working for and serving, and a lot of good people here. So very grateful for that. I stand for any questions. All right, thank you.
Next up is Community Center Director Shay Tidlish.
Good evening. I'm going to start off with just the Allen Fields, just give you an update. The tournament on August 1st went well. We had 8 teams and the weather was good. It went good. The next one is on the 22nd and it's a co-ed tournament. Just kind of good to have those back because haven't had one of those in a while. It may end up being a 2-day tournament depending on how many teams. As of right now, it won't be a 2-day tournament, but we still have a little time. we got back the RFPs for the lighting, but I'll let Julie touch on that later in the meeting tonight. We're getting ready to start on the plan and design for the perimeter trail around the fields and up by the high school. And it should also include a pump track plan and design and possibly a bowl for a skate park. We're in the middle of figuring all that out, and we have a rec meeting on Thursday. We're gonna go over a lot of stuff. Also working on getting the concrete slab done, hopefully this year. The slab that's gonna be for the skate park. We are hoping, checking into that now, figuring out what we can do to try to make that happen this year. And Julie and Rocky are both applying for Trails Plus grant for more to be added onto the trail and the Island Fields projects, and those have to be submitted by September 30th. They can tell you more about that too. And up at the center, we've just got our regular activities going on, so a lot of people are happy about that, because a lot of times we have to shut down for Music from Angel Fire. Some people are happy that we're open for them, so. And anybody have any questions? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Finally, your reports is our finance director, Adrian Rendell.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, Manager Weir, and Clerk Strickland. I'm just going to make you aware of some position description updates that we're doing inside of finance. And I've got quite a few notes here, but I'm going to try to keep it as brief as possible. We're going to have 3 position description updates: Deputy Finance Director, Senior Budget Analyst, and Payroll and Accounts Payable Specialist. The updated position descriptions were inside of your packets, so hopefully you had a chance to look at that. The Finance Department has turned over substantially since we adopted this year's budget. Chris Beckdahl, our CSR and Process Administrator, moved to the Village Clerk's office. Our Payroll and Accounts Payable position went vacant in June, and we eliminated the CSR and Administrative Support position outright. The last one was because we've never kept anyone at our front counter for longer than about 6 months. So the pay isn't competitive against what it costs to live here, and the candidate pool is thin. So rather than keep rehiring into a job that won't hold, we eliminated it, and we moved our counter coverage to a shared rotation among our back office staff. So coming in, Chris Reed from the airport, he's transferring to us, and he's going to be in payroll, accounts payable, and customer service. So it's a combination of what Naomi Miller was doing for us before she left, and what the front counter position that we're eliminating was doing. Chris already works inside of our financial system, so the ramp up should be short for him. And we also hired Brianna Garcia as our senior budget analyst. She's going to be working remotely from Phoenix. She just happens to be in the back room right now because she started today, and so she flew out here to do her onboarding and basically take the village tour, kind of put names to faces and figure out exactly what we look like, so that as she's looking through all this data, it'll hopefully start to solidify for her a little bit sooner rather than later. So, and a promotion. Juliana Gibson moves from supervisory budget analyst to deputy finance director. She's retired military, about 24 years in there, plus 10 more in federal service, and she's been doing a good share of the work informally already here in the village. So a couple things more to add. I'm changing titles, descriptions, and responsibilities. So the duties from the eliminated position have been redistributed. The budget analyst role picked up the scope. The deputy role is new work, not relabeled work. Number 2, our personnel ordinance provides for promotion from within, and that's how this village should be operating. So Juliana, Chris Reed, and Chris Beckdahl are all village workers who moved up or moved across. So it's a merit system working the way it's supposed to. We keep institutional knowledge, we shorten up ramp time, and we give people here a reason to stay. So finally, on why the deputy position matters, 2 things will be taking up a large share of my time this year. The OpenGov conversion starts this month, and it's going to run about a year. It's going to be general ledger, budget, payroll, accounts payable, and utility billing. So it's going to be a lot of work. This is not going to be a background task. At the manager's discretion, I'm also going to be spending regular time on executive succession preparation in municipal finance. So in other words, I'm helping him to train his replacement. Right now, this village has nobody below me who can step into my chair. That's an exposure between DFA deadlines, the audit, payroll, debt service, the budget cycle. None of it waits for us to fill a vacancy. And my position, I'll add, it's sat open for quite a while under Manager Weir, whenever he was kind of trying to wear both hats at the same time. So, preventative maintenance. On cost, this is a net increase, partly offset by the eliminated position and by vacancy savings. We're absorbing it within the existing appropriation. I'm not asking for a budget adjustment tonight. If one becomes necessary later in the year, I'll bring it to you. And with that, basically, am I asking for a motion? Is this just a heads up and you wanna put that into a motion later?
No, we won't have to do a motion until you, make a change to the budget,
Okay, and so if and when we need to do the bar piece?
if and when.
Okay, so just for information, that's where we're at right now. Along with the shifts, Juliana's promotion is basically covered by the fact that we eliminated a position that's been sitting vacant. So that's all I have for now. I stand for any questions. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any committee reports this evening? If not, we'll move into old business. Item A, I'd like to open for discussion to approve resolution 2026-62, the FY 27 holiday revised schedule, rescinding resolution 2026-42.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and Manager. This is before you because there was an error on the holiday schedule. It was noticed that Columbus/Indigenous Peoples' Day was on the 13th, a Tuesday. That's incorrect. It's actually on a Monday. So staff will not be showing up on Monday opposed to the Tuesday. So I'm asking for your approval on that, and I'll stand for any questions.
Further questions or discussion, I'll ask for a motion.
Make a motion on old business item A, approving resolution 2026-62, fiscal year 27 holiday revised schedule, rescinding resolution 2026-42.
Second.
Roll call vote on old business item A. Mayor Pro Tem Crane,
Aye.
Councilor Howe,
Aye.
and Councilor Curry.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay, moving into new business. Open item A for discussion, and that's to approve the Village of Angel Fire revised workforce housing governance. Manager Weir.
Yes, Mayor and Council, in going through the process of finding people to occupy the workforce housing units, we ran across something in the governance that has caused some issues with being able to offer people a place to live that would otherwise qualify. And it has to do with the language, utilizing the language of husband and wife. And what this is asking you to do is to agree to change the governance to include not only husband and wife, but also domestic partners. Currently as a domestic partnership, they both have to qualify individually, whereas they qualify jointly as husband and wife. And so we want that same consideration for domestic partners that exist for husband and wife.
Any questions or comments? If not, I'd ask for a motion.
Make a motion on new business item A, approve the Village of Angel Fire's revised workforce housing governance.
Second.
Roll call vote on new business item A. Mayor Pro Tem Crane,
Aye.
Councilor Howe,
Aye.
and Councilor Curry.
Aye.
Motion passed.
All right, moving on to item B. Looking for discussion to approve the airport general consultant agreement between AXX and Dubois and King LLC. Is that supposed to be KAXX?
Yes.
So yeah, if the motion's made, please note that, I'll turn this over to Manager Weir.
Yes, Mayor and Council again. With the hopefully pending transfer of the airport from the county to the village, the village is going to be working on the CIP, or in New Mexico we call it the ICIP, but for federally they call it the CIP, same thing. But we have to do a CIP for the airport to be submitted to the FAA. And when we first did our contract with Du Bois and King, it did not include in the scope the ability to work on the CIP for us. And that's what this language does. It simply amends the current contract that's in place. It doesn't change pricing, it doesn't change the term. It expands the scope so that Du Bois and King can work with us in developing our submission for the CIP to the FAA.
Questions or comments? If not, I'd ask for a motion on item B.
Make a motion on item B to approve airport general consultant agreement between KAXX and Dubois King.
Second.
Roll call vote on item B. Mayor Pro Tem Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Howell,
Aye.
and Counselor Craig.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay, item C, open for discussion to approve appointment Jeff Wallace to be a voting member of the Firewise Committee, Tammy Wallace to be an alternate voting member of the Firewise Committee. Vance?
Good evening again, Mr. Mayor, members of council, Manager Weir, Clerk Strickland. On August 3rd, 2026, the Firewise Committee met and formally recommended the addition of Jeff and Tammy Wallace to the committee as voting members. We request that the Village Council vote to approve their appointments using a primary and alternate structure, with Jeff Wallace serving as the primary voting member and Tammy Wallace serving as the alternate member. In previous version of this committee for Fire Adapted Committee, sometimes we had problems getting a quorum together and having enough people to vote, so this would help remedy that as long as one of the two members was present. Anytime an announcement will be made prior to the call of order at any meeting where the alternate is active to ensure a proper quorum, and will be documented in meeting notes. I stand for any questions.
That's for a motion.
Make a motion on item C, approve appointment of Jeff Wallace to be a voting member of the Firewise Committee and Tammy Wallace to be an alternate voting member of the Firewise Committee.
Second.
Roll call vote on item C. Mayor Pro Tem Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Howell,
Aye.
and Counselor Curry.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Moving on to item D, open for discussion to approve property access wildfire mitigation agreement, also known as the Good Neighbor Policy. Chief Vance.
Hello again. On August 3rd, 2026, the Firewise Committee formally recommended that we send the property access and wildfire mitigation agreement, also known as the Good Neighbor Agreement, for legal review. This document allows property owners to obtain legal permission to perform wildfire risk mitigation as defined in the Defensible Space Ordinance on a neighboring property. Mr. Manley helped us out with the village with giving a look at some of the revisions that we made. We consolidated that into one document, and we'll turn that over to legal, hoping that they give us any recommendations or approval before we vote it in. This is just simply asking, requesting permission to pass it to legal. So yeah, we are requesting to pass this along to legal counsel for approval before bringing you back to this body for codification. Any questions?
No, I just think we should reflect that intent in the motion, because here it looks as if we're passing it. So it's just gonna be going to legal at this point.
It'd be a motion to proceed, basically.
Yeah. So, yeah, with that said, is there any other discussion or questions? I'd ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion on item D, proceeding with sending the property access and wildfire mitigation agreement, aka the Good Neighbor Policy, for legal review.
Second.
Roll call vote on item D. Mayor Pro Tem Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Howell,
Aye.
and Counselor Curry.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you, and I'll have a copy of that mitigation agreement at the table if anybody wants to see it.
Thanks, Chief. Item E, open discussion to approve dispatch agreement with the town of Red River. Chief Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council, Madam Clerk, Village Manager. First and foremost, let me apologize for not having this on a May or June agenda item for approval. I really did think that last year when we approved our MOA agreement with Red River, that we had done so for 2 years. In review upon the contract this year, it was only for 1 year, so it has expired. The language in this one has been changed to reflect what I thought I had recommended last year, which was a 2-year contract. Bring your attention to the only other changes on on page 2, under Village of Angel Fire shall, the last couple of lines. Additionally, Angel Fire shall continue to explore the construction of a new radio tower at or near the Aspen Tank site. And that's the only other change other than going from 1 year to 2 years. And I'm happy to report that the payment cost per year remains at $62,304, paid for in 4 quarterly installments, and the rate did not increase.
Questions or comments? That's my motion.
I'll make a motion on item E, approve dispatch agreement with the town of Red River.
I second.
Roll call vote on item E. Mayor Pro Tem Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Howell,
Aye.
and Counselor Curry.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Item F, I'd like to open discussion to approve award to Pluma LLC for the Allen Fields lighting and electrical construction in the amount of $1,168,740.70. Ms. Coy.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Manager Weir, and Clerk Strickland. Before you have the staff recommendation to award Pluma LLC the award for the lighting and construction of Allen Fields. Their bid came in at $1,168,740.70. This was the only responsive bid. There were 2 other bids. One was Apex Solutions, was $1,222,736, and Bixby Electric was $1,884,776. And I stand for any questions.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, this is an unusual situation where I am recommending that the council not approve this RFP. Even though these bids came, or this recommended bid came in slightly lower than the price we were quoted by a state pricing agreement from a firm. The reason we went out to RFP instead of using that state pricing agreement is because we couldn't afford the state pricing agreement. If we approve this, it would basically use all the funds that are in the Fund 305 for Parks and Rec fees, where this is being paid out of. And we still have debt service to pay out of that fund for the original field debt. So consequently, I cannot recommend this because we do not have the funds to afford lighting at this point. Our hope was that we would get this and around $600,000 or $800,000, and then I would have recommended that you move forward with it. But at this price, we just simply can't afford it. It will give us some other options. The Parks and Rec Committee has stated that there's other things that they'd like to see at the field that they feel might be of more use by the public than lights would be. So, some of the Parks and Rec Committee have expressed to me that they are in favor of utilizing these funds for other things like bathrooms out at Allen Fields or a concession stand. And there's other things that they have in these plans that they're thinking that they could better spend the money on. I did have a meeting with Ms. Tiblis, or Director Tiblis today, and Magnum, who is a company that's doing the cement work for the new fire station. And they're gonna work with us and get us a quote, because part of the things that the Recreation Committee is recommending is a skateboard park type thing, and they need a slab poured for that. And we would have to come up with the cost of that slab. If we spend this money on lighting, we definitely wouldn't have that money for the slab. And if we can get the slab, there is another grant of excess of $200,000 that a company has offered us to be able to build a skate tracks. And I'm not a skater, so I don't know all the right terms, but they needed a cement slab poured. So I think between the cement slab and potentially the concession stand with bathrooms it actually may be something more advantageous for Allen Fields anyhow than lights would be. We'd love to have lights. Again, I just, at this price point, we can't afford them. It was said to me, well, if you can't afford them now, they're just gonna get more expensive. And that may be true, but we also can't afford a new village hall. We can't, there's a lot of things we can't afford, and we don't have the money. And as much as we want lights, this will damage other developments, in my opinion, at Allen Fields if we spend all of our cash on these lights. And it'll challenge us to make our debt service payments.
How many lights towers was this for? I know I have the summary, but how many different towers was it? Do you happen to know?
I don't know,
At least 8.
8. I was just seeing, and I was to your point, the engineer's opinion, the bid actually came in under, not that, is, assuring us that it's a good price. To your point, it really doesn't matter at this point, but it was technically under what the engineer thought it would be. Is there any chance that as the development in Allen Fields goes over, that we're gonna be able to get electric closer to where these sites are to, that if we do get to a point where we have lights, they don't have to pull the electric quite so far as part of that bid?
so, Mr. Mayor, Council, we're gonna pull electric into Allen Fields if we have a concession stand. So it might even reduce the expense of lights in the future, because we're gonna have to pull electric in to Allen Fields anyhow. It's not that far off, the electricity isn't, but we will have to pull it in for a concession stand, so that portion of it. The bigger portion is the actual lights and the poles themselves. They're just, if you want a very high-end, top-of-the-line lighting system, I guess this is what it's gonna cost. The other thing we'll have to present to the Parks and Rec Committee is, are they willing to look at lower-end, less expensive lights? Will that suffice for the needs of the village? And those are just decisions that are gonna have to be recommended by the committee and decided by the council. But right now, for these high-end lights, and these are high-end lights. I'm not a lighting expert, but based on what I did see, this is, the specs for this RFP were built for the Mercedes-Benz of lights. And there may be other options, but again, we're gonna have to pursue those through the committee and find something we can afford.
One caveat to that, and where is a liability issue if we put up subpar lighting, because lighting for a field is a science, really. If you look at Musco is the company, and these are the specs that the electrical engineer quoted. So this is the Cadillac of lighting, I agree, but it could cause a liability issue if we go with subpar lighting. That's my only caveat, that warning.
So those things will need to be considered. What our chief procurement officer stated is accurate. This just has to be part of the consideration.
Any other questions or discussion? That's for a motion on item G.
I'll make a motion on item F, approve award to Pluma LLC for the Allen Fields lighting and electrical construction of $1,168,740.70.
A second.
Roll call vote on item F. Mayor Pro Tem Simmons,
No.
Councilor Howe,
No.
and Councilor Curry.
No.
Motion failed.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your consideration.
Now we go to item G, and open discussion to approve resolution 2026-64, final quarter's budget report for the fiscal year ending 30 June 2026.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, now you, motion on item G. This is this closed out fiscal year 26. And so, as council knows, we don't just keep records inside of the ERP here in the village. We also have to communicate all of this to the state. We do it through the local government business budget management system, which is LGBMS. So we submit those numbers to them, they review them, they give us feedback. Based off how those conversations go, sometimes we change those numbers, and then they give us an approval. Final step though is that we have to have council approval attached into that system so that they know that you were all aware. So that's what was submitted inside the package. And so I'm just asking for approval for closeout quarter for FY '26.
Discussion or questions? I'll ask for a motion.
Make a motion on item G, approve resolution 2026-64, final quarter budget report for the fiscal year ending 30 June 2026.
Second.
Roll call vote on item G. Mayor Pro Tem Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Howell,
Aye.
and Counselor Curry.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Item H, I'd like to open discussion to approve resolution 2026-65, various bars.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor and Council. This is to add an expense line of $179,382.59 for the purpose of making the 2022 GO bond projects payments. So, and I stand for your questions.
Questions or discussion? I'll ask for a motion on item H.
Make a motion on item H, approving resolution 2026-65, various bars.
Second.
Roll call vote on item H. Mayor Pro Tem Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Howell,
Aye.
and Counselor Curry.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Finally, this evening, we have our manager's report, Mr. Weir.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council, got several things to report. First of all, you may be aware that the water department has had some significant challenges over the past week, starting with our tank 2, which is the tank that supplies water to the lower west side of the village. That tank had a significant leak that was detected a week ago. We couldn't pinpoint the exact source of the leak last week, so then over the weekend we prepped and the tank to be drained on Monday so that we could get inside the tank and determine where the leak was. The leak was determined. It was in a pipe that feeds the tank where the actual leak was. The leak was big enough that we didn't have plugs that size. Our staff then, 2 of our staff members drove to Albuquerque and back in the same day because they had to buy a big enough plug to plug that pipe. They worked until past 9 o'clock Monday night to fix that plug and get the tank back full. When they came in this morning, it had started leaking again, and what happened is they plugged a portion of the pipe, and the rest of the pipe that had decayed under the pressure collapsed as well, or split. And so they had to redrain the tank. Today we had people jumping through, our chief procurement officer and our administrative person for the water department were jumping through hoops to get procurement done to bring in Double Black. They're the local firm that does a lot of welding and so on. And they came in and they cut that pipe totally out and put a whole new pipe in today, but we had to drain the tank again. Unfortunately, in both cases, over 2 feet of water in that tank were drained and effectively were not utilized. They had to be drained onto the ground. We were able to get that tank today back up and running, and it's back full to capacity. I got a report just before this started. Thanks to the new booster pumps that we've already put in, they were able to fill that tank rapidly, and now the tanks on the west side are all full. We shouldn't have any additional water problems on the west side of the village. I will tell you that because of some of the SCADA components that we've invested in and some of the work that we put in relation to booster pumps, we actually never had anybody call and complain about lack of water, even though for almost the better part of 2 days in a row, tank 2 was empty. And we still, because the east side, basically water came out of the wells on the east side and filled the lines. They weren't filling the tank, but it was enough to fill the lines for standard usage on the west side of the village. And that's just all work that Director Epler and his staff have been doing over the last 2.5 years to develop a better water system. But there were some guys that really worked hard. I will tell you, there was another thing that occurred today simultaneously, and the well at Monteverde 5. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Monteverde 5. It's a subdivision that's off of B6, north of Angel Fire, and the village actually owns that well for that subdivision, even though it's not in our village limits. It was transferred to the village as part of the water transfer agreement with the resort back in the mid-90s. And that well is now experiencing the same thing that the Peralta well was experiencing. The well, you know, basically has run without little care. We haven't done anything other than standard maintenance on it in 8 years. 8 years was the last time the pump had to be pulled 8 years ago, and it's ran fine and everything. We don't actually have pictures like we do of the Peralta well yet. We've ordered them. They will be done tomorrow. They'll pull the pump out of the wellhead and they'll run a camera down, and we'll get the same type of report that we had for the Peralta well. But the water department feels it's just the same thing. It's a relatively small, shallow well. It doesn't serve that many houses, and it's always just run, and we've just let it run. It's not been a problem, but now the water table is so low that it's impacting the ability to pull water out of that. I heard an estimate that it's gonna either run 4 or 5 days at its current level. I'm sorry, be off for 4 or 5 days and run 2 or 3 days. Be off for 4 or 5 days. So what the water department actually is doing is taking some temporary water storage tanks and placing them in that Monteverde 5 subdivision. And we're just gonna have to manually fill and feed them water out of temporary storage tanks that we have until we figure out a solution to what's going on with that well. I will tell you that if it is just a water level issue, the estimates I've heard is no sooner than next spring would the replenishment levels be able to refill the well properly, and it could be the following spring before that's done. So again, that's speculation at this point, but it is what the people working on the well are seeing, and we'll have a more definitive answer tomorrow on the status of that well. So that just it feeds into the water restrictions that we put on the village, even though that's not inside the village limits. They are subject to our rules. It is part of our system. By the way, we are having to make bottled water available to them because we had to turn their well off, and until we get this temporary tank set up, which we hope will be tomorrow, but they need access to water. And so for the public or for the people that need that, they can go to Fire Station 1, and we do have free bottled water for people in that subdivision. And we also have 5-gallon buckets for uses on your toilet and so on. So that is available at Fire Station 1 for them to pick up. But I will tell you that the shiny part of all this, if there is one, is the performance of our team. We had several team members that worked over 14 hours consecutively yesterday. And today came back in and put in another approximately 9 hours working on these 2 issues. And I just think those people need to be recognized, and I'd like to name them and their positions for you. And as you see these guys, I mean, they're out working. They said that they could come in for this meeting, but I said, no, go home. You know, you work almost 25 hours in 2 days. You probably need to go home and get some rest. But the leader of the group is Evan Trujillo. He's the superintendent of water operations. I can tell you that Evan contacted me no less than once an hour to an hour and a half to give me updates on what was going on. His second is Logan Folks, who is a field supervisor, and Logan also communicated to me because Evan was one of the ones that drove down to Albuquerque to get the plug. And while Evan was on the road, Logan became the person, and he continued to contact me. Nathan Gopion, who is one of our PRN employees and just came on board and put in the time and did great work. Andrew Sanchez, our meter reader, jumped in and helped where he could. Jack Crandall, of course, who is our senior laborer, the guy who does, all the backbreaking work and is just a great employee. He was on it. Wesley Gonzalez also is one of our newest laborers, worked on that. And then finally Pablo Archuleta, who is one of our main equipment operators for the water department, was also out there working. If you see any of these guys or anything, we really need to give them a big thanks because of not just the work they've done in the last 2 days, but the work they've done in the 2.5 years prior to this, getting our water system. I mean, we had a point where tank 2 was empty for the better part of 2 days and not one complaint of water outage. So to me, that is indicative of just all the work these guys have been doing. I will tell you, we've had record for July, for June and July, record number of breaks in the water line. It's just way out of anything that ordinarily occurs. We know our water lines are old. We've been living with that for 20 years. They were old 20 years ago. But it's just an unusual number of water breaks, and the speculation is that it's either due to the excessive or the increase in seismic activity that we've had in the region. Most of that's been on the Colorado border, so it really hasn't been in Moreno Valley. But they're thinking maybe that seismic activity has something to do with it. The other idea is that it's just because the water table is so low. Keep in mind that we bury our pipes at least 6 feet deep. And in some places, the water table could have been up that high, or at least keeping the soil moist in that lower area so that it wasn't, dry and rubbing against the pipes as much, or shifting or settling. So we're not sure why, but we have had a record number June and July of breaks in water lines this year, and it's not in one location. If it was in the Monteverde Lake 1 and 2 area, we'd understand. Those are our oldest water lines, and they're small and heavily used, but it's been all over the village. These water line breaks have been, and it's been constant. So these guys have been working like crazy, and they really deserve accolades and appreciation from our community and from our leadership. So I just wanted to say that. One last thing. On the 17th, the Roads and Infrastructure Committee on the 17th will be having a meeting to deal with several issues, primarily dealing with Title VII. And if you guys have a chance, it'd be worth coming and discussing with them, because on the 25th, they're gonna have presented to you changes, a request to proceed with changes to Title VII. And some of them are significant, some of them are related to the water restrictions that we're under right now. And there were just things that came out, like we were working with the resort. The resort's really been great in working with us on these water restrictions. And even some of the feedback from their staff had us contemplating things that aren't in the ordinance, and even our staff hadn't contemplated. So now we presented those concerns to the Infrastructure Committee. They're gonna discuss them and maybe come back with some possible solutions that'll better allow us to better serve the public through these restrictions. So I do recommend on the 17th, if any of you have the time to come by or after the meeting, watch the recording. I think it's some pretty important stuff that's gonna be changes that are gonna be made in Title VII, hopefully in the coming month.
And that's at 2 o'clock.
It's at 2 o'clock, I'm sorry, on the 17th. Mr. Mayor, that's all I have.
Can I ask that question? Certainly. When Kurt had presented about the first well, he said that was our only shallow well, that the rest of them were deep. But is this one shallow also, like 300, sub 300?
We believe it is. So for this well, we don't have records like we have for our other wells. Like I said, it's been 8 years since we've done anything other than the standard water tests that we have to do on a monthly basis, or quarterly basis. We just haven't, it's just been a well that's just worked, and so we look back in our records,
So we didn't even know how deep it is.
we don't even know how deep it is. We'll find out tomorrow. We also believe that even though it has a standard size based on the type of material for the well casing, that type of material is typically used when it funnels down. So, you know, it could be like a small well at the bottom of this. We don't know. We just don't have any records that tell us the detail of that. But just because of the material the casing's made out of, usually that's what they do when they neck it down. They use that type of material as, it's not as rigid as a standard casing.
And how many homes does it service?
How many, Monteverde 5, I don't know, there's, I think there's like 8 houses over there. But only like 3 of them have full-time residents. There's probably about 15 to 18 lots, I don't know the exact number. And not all of them have houses on them.